Greetings and welcome to another episode of Oral Pathology Tuesdays. And this time we are celebrating the completion of 3 years and starting on the path ahead on our fourth year. This has been a very interesting time. It has been a very interesting journey. And I know most of you would expect that we have a special program for our anniversary like we have had so far. Well, certain things have prevented me from having one. We'll get into that reason and those details a little ahead. But for now, I must say, whenever I find that whenever life puts up some challenges, some hills to climb, so as to say, in my path, there is also the opportunity to see some things a better scene to view things from normally from a hill you can see things better. So in the same way, I think to this time, by not being able to have their regular celebratory event, I have taken the chance to just meet with you all, just to have a conversation. No complex videos, no presentations, just a conversation. And I think this is a very interesting opportunity, and I'm very very happy to have this with you. And for all of you who may be new here, I'm Dr. Mandana Donahue, founder of Oral Pathology 360. If this is your first time, well, hang around with us. We are going to have some very special discussion of how we started, where we are going, and what's the path ahead, who all have helped. There's so much to discuss, and I would like to hear your thoughts. And let's start. Well, we already have our first viewer here, Dr. Pushpanjali. Yes, good evening. And today we will have a more conversational event. So, yes, we will bring all the comments here as they turn up. And I will try. Very often, I have actually a few times, not often, I have had events where I have tried to say that please ask me whatever questions you want. And I find that when we are having a open meeting like that, not many probably want to ask me all the questions that are there in your mind. So instead, I find that I get a lot more questions in a more private setting. But then I thought maybe I'll answer some of those questions that I'm asked very often. The very first one is, why did we start Oral Pathology 360? Because people, many of you have joined along the way, and obviously you may not have been with us from the beginning. And just to tell you why, on the 28th of August of 2020, if you recall, we were in the really in the throes of the first half of the pandemic. There were lockdowns everywhere, and everyone was very, I would say, depressed, a little dissuaded in whatever they were doing. A lot of our young colleagues were in a lockdown, they didn't know where we are going and what is happening. So there was a sense of feeling a little down. And that was a time when a few got in touch with me and said, "We're feeling down." And I thought, a program like this would help cheer everybody and help them to get connected with each other. Of course, that reason and that cause, that goal has, I would say, evolved since then. We did achieve that. And frankly, to begin with, I thought that this will be something I would do for just a few months until the pandemic passed. And then we'll just go back to normal life. But as we were doing this, I realized that this is an excellent opportunity for doing more. There are two things that I think most people believe in, and I definitely believe in, is that there should be, an equitable chance, an equality for patients to get the best treatment, for doctors to get the best training, wherever you are. No limitations of geography. Very often we find that um, even in today's world, actually until the pandemic, we didn't really get online quite as much, not in meetings and not in this way. So although there was, today I would say, in fact, there is the entire knowledge The entire learning of the human race is available to us at the click of a button on the internet. True, sometimes it's difficult to filter out what is really good and what is not, but it's all there, and yet we don't really uh, get to use it. Patients don't still have access to the best everywhere, and to the best of the knowledge available. Of course, for patient access, what we need is that also patients have the access. It's a physical, a geographic limitation is there, but at least people should know that it is there. So when we think about oral and maxillofacial pathology, when we think about oral medicine, patients should be able to should be aware, and also our services should be available everywhere. Currently, there is this the oral health for all by 2030 is a great push by the WHO, and as a part of health, basically it's health for all by 2030. So as a part of that push, there is also oral health, and I really think that now going ahead, we can go ahead and push towards that. Oral health obviously includes oral and maxillofacial health. And if we can set up a time or set up a situation where every hospital has an oral and maxillofacial diseases unit, then I think we will not have a situation where people actually write to me and ask me, I have this lesion on my tongue. I have been to an ENT. I have been to a general medicine person. I have been to different doctors. I'm not able to get treatment. So, this is something that is still there and we are working on. Then, the other thing, of course, is that bringing the best available knowledge to you, irrespective of where you are. Today, it's a great achievement that we have over 170 videos. I think it's the greatest, the biggest free collection of knowledge base in oral pathology and oral medicine that is available to anybody. And it is people, it is true, there are some young rising stars among the speakers, but there are also recognized faces. There are people who are experts in specific fields, their lectures are there, latest topics, and this has become a great point, a great place. People have met on the channel and have actually managed to go ahead and conduct all sorts of research and events together. And I don't know, you can share your thoughts. I would really like to know where you're logged in and what you think. So these are all the things, the reasons that we started. To begin with, we started Oral Pathology 360, but it has, of course, grown and more matured. Today, it is not just oral pathology, it is also oral medicine and radiology. So, this was the beginning. And well, when you think about, we started on this path, and what have been the achievements? Of course, the achievements, like I said, is the number of uh, videos, and it's really all our achievement. Every speaker, and I have been over 200 of those on the channel. It's almost unbelievable the amount of time and energy people have put into these. And I have to say, running these as live streams generally means it's a lot more, uh, what I would say, time intensive for the speakers, because we have to have a trial first. Then, very often in the recent past, at least, they still send me their recording of the lecture, which means they have to take the time to record it. So we can play the lecture without any internet problems. And then they still have to be there with us at that time to actually attend and answer your questions. So, and so many people have come across and spoken on the channel. It's really amazing. Without them, it would just not be possible. And then, of course, it is all of you who turn up for the live streams or watch, many watch them later also. And in fact, with all that watching and viewing is why we crossed an amazing 1 lakh views last month. So this is something great, I think, for a dedicated oral pathology and oral medicine or oral diseases, let's say, uh, channel. So It's really great. We have, okay, nice. We have with us Vede. Hi, Vede. Joining us. Yes. So, oh, sorry, I'm using the wrong mouse because I have too many of those around. Okay, now because I'm showing this from here, it is basically she is waving. Yes, we wave back to you, Vede. And thank you for joining us. Okay. So that is about, well, everybody's contribution. Although I have to say, there have been along the way some people who have helped more than just a once. It is their help that I depend on. It's the people who, come last minute sometimes to give lectures, suggest people's names, support the channel in so many ways. And they are like the pillars at the back. People I know I can always go to, people I know will always help. And without them, also, this would not be possible. So I have to go ahead, and today, being the third anniversary, I have to thank them too. Now, of course, we have Dr. Daftari, our own Dr. Dinesh Daftari, and Dr. Ranganathan from India. Dr. Tilak Ratne, originally from Sri Lanka, but is now in, as we know, he is now in Malaysia. Then Professor Joss Hille from South Africa. We have Dr. Saeed Al Naif from US, Dr. Puyan Shakib from Iran, and Dr. Keith Hunter from England, Dr. Jeronimo Lazos from, where is that? Argentina, and of course, Dr. Nandini from here, Dr. Simarpreet, Dr. Raghu Radhakrishnan, Dr. Selvi, Karpaga Selvi, Dr. Ravikant Maniam, and Dr. Kala Carvalho, Dr. Anita Spadigam, and yes, I certainly hope I have not forgotten anyone, Dr. Joharia from Pakistan. So these are people who, from across the globe, as you could make out, who step in and help, and I really have to say thank you to them right now. So, and that was the thanks. What next? This is how far we have come, what we started. So, what is next for Oral Pathology 360? Well, as many of you may know, we are already, it's not just a channel, we do have a website. And before I took that unexpected break, we in fact were very successfully running some puzzles, which were getting a lot of visits, and I think people were enjoying them. We will definitely start those soon. And of course, I have to also explain that this year's conference, the International Case Presentation Conference, which initially we had announced in May, then we stopped basically talking about it. But it has been postponed, it is very much still there. And we had to sort of pause that. In fact, this year we have many more dental schools, organizations from around the globe. And we only paused that because, well, I was about to undergo some treatment. And since, as you know, the conference is paid, you register for it. So I did not want to go around collecting, registration fees. And then if something happened, it would be very difficult to tackle. So we just decided to wait, and we will get back to you. We have to reset the date. We will get back to you about that too. In fact, the same reason also has been why I could not start the sessions as planned in June. So for 2.5 months almost, we did not have any sessions. Just, life happens, health issues. What is important is I'm back, and yes, we are totally energized and waiting to go on. The goal is still there, and we haven't really achieved the final goal, so we need to go on. In the meanwhile, I have this, like I mentioned, about. So, in the path ahead, I would really like to know, and this is something we will have a panel discussion or a discussion on very soon, is how can we leverage the health for all drive that is happening through the WHO and through the FDI. There are a whole set of resources by almost all the governments, including our government, who are signatories to this uh, plan, and is to promote health, including and very dedicatedly oral health. So, oral diseases are the fourth most common of the non communicable diseases in the world, and there is definite recognition that it is a part of health. You need to have oral health to have general health. So think about it. Let me know. Read up, if you can, the WHO's that whole plan and the statement on what they are planning to do, and let me know what are your thoughts. What do you think about how we can leverage that into making oral and maxillofacial diseases, the diagnostics and the management, uh, better accessible and better known. So, oh, hi, Carla. Yes, we have Carla with us from Goa. Thank you so much. Yes, it has become a repository for anyone seeking to know more. And that's really I'm very happy about that. I do get a lot of messages about that. So it's really nice. And like I said, everybody's efforts. And you, of course, I have to say, are the, what I would say, the permanent or what I would say, I volunteer you normally for the conferences and different places where announcements have to be made. And I thank you for that involvement and for being there and for coming today. So let me know what else you all think, what is happening in your side and where you are. This is just, I don't really want to take it more than 6 o'clock, but we do have around 15 minutes definitely if we want to chat some more. And let me know what you all think. What are your thoughts? I really would like to hear from you. What are the challenges you are having now? I know that some of the um, besides the fact that in India we feel sometimes that we are too many oral pathologists, although I do not believe that is the case. But in fact, and I don't know if this is the case with oral medicine too, but a lot of places, the in fact, I would say I'm surprised, even regions in the world where oral pathology and maybe oral medicine that I need to check are not recognized subjects. For example, the UAE, although otherwise so forward looking and I would say a very progressive government, they actually, and on the healthcare side, they have not recognized oral pathology as a subject. This is something that I hope we can work on, because obviously this the recognition of the subjects themselves will make a difference to where we go with this. And sorry, no, okay, everything is working. Right. This is one thing that happens when you're hosting. I mean, being the host, which is why sometimes it's so difficult to actually take part in the discussions while I'm hosting, and lectures that go on, very interesting lectures. I can't really always be a part of the discussion because, well, when I'm the host, I have to keep an eye on other things. And that's one of the challenges of having uh, the shows actually as live. So I have to ask, even today, there are, of course, we have different days. We have, when we have lectures, we do have more people attending the live. But I really have to wonder, uh, does it really make a difference? Would you rather just have recorded lectures? The effort involved, which will be much, much less. And what do you think? Should we at least maybe switch some of the weeks to recorded lectures where we just basically, I think in towards the end of yeah, basically towards the end of April and beginning of May, I had set up, I think, around maybe 5 or 6 lectures that were being uploaded in an automated manner, so that my absence did not make a difference. What do you think? Did you watch any of those? Do you think it makes a difference whether we have them as live or we have recordings? What do you think? I mean, you are the people who are here watching the live. What do you think? It would be nice to hear what you have to say. Now, there's this very interesting thing. I have to, if I want to be able to have this sort of a discussion with you all, I need to actually set the lag to more, so that it gives you a little lag in between till you, so you can type in and I can see it. But I am not entirely sure. That will be more fun. It'll be more fun if I can, of course, but interact with you all more. But I don't know how the speed will work. Something really to check. So, right. What about topics? That's another thing. So, I know there are, of course, there are already 170 videos there. You got to go there and see which ones you need to watch. Um, do you take the time to, and these are questions that I'm just throwing here. Even if you watch this as a recording, please send me the answer or put it in the comments. It will be very nice to know. So the first question was, can we switch over to more recorded videos? And the second one is, do you really go and open the channel and actually look through all the topics that have been covered? Is it easy to do so for you, or is it not really that easy to check the old ones? Is there anything else, any other topics you would like us to cover? And all these things basically, uh, I would really love to hear from you all, not necessarily only here, even otherwise. Send us a message. You can send me a message anywhere. You can send me a message on Facebook, either with my, of course, my personal profile everywhere is on my own name. So you can find me, Dr. Mandana Donahue, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on what is the other thing called? Instagram, and for that matter, on Twitter, or it's not Twitter anymore, on X. And then the Oral Pathology 360's pages everywhere. But where you go and you open and put at Oral Pathology 360, you'll find us and you can message us any of those places. This really, the next phase of growth is going to really have to happen if I can have more input from you all. This was how far my mind could bring this. But really, for the next year, I would really like more interaction and more involvement. I know you're involved in the lectures and you watch the lectures. That's why we have over 100,000 views. But I would like a little more interaction in terms of what is happening and in the planning of the whole thing. So, do let me know. We are reaching, it's now 5:54. I think that we can call it not a day, but a meeting, and move on with an aim to basically continue with all the energy we have, doing everything that we can as always, and hoping that we will take the voice and the access to the oral and maxillofacial pathology, medicine, and radiology, basically the oral and maxillofacial diagnostics, further and further, and we will be able to do more and more. I do hope you will make it a point to visit our website from this week, from the coming week. Yes. Oh, yeah, it's just Tuesday. So maybe tomorrow or day after, I will post a new puzzle. The puzzles are really kept very easy, they are not complex. But if you do answer them, if you're amongst the first five who sends us the answer, you basically solve the puzzle, take a screenshot, send it to us. The link is there. And if you're amongst the first five, you will get a nifty little certificate. You will also get your name announced in the next week's program. You can also submit your own puzzles, the word puzzles. Yeah, there is a description as to how you should do it. So that's another thing. And let us know what else you can think of to make it all more fun. Stay involved, stay with us, and well, we will see you all, I think, next week. Oh, hello, Dr. Nanavati. So nice of you to join us. Yes, this is interesting. It's important to educate general dentists to be more suspicious about oral lesions and take biopsy and send specimens to oral pathologists for histopathological diagnosis. Very, very true. And this is where I think, in a lot of ways, getting on board with the WHO program. Yesterday I saw that the FDI has come out with a whole booklet on advocacy. So if we can follow that protocol and cheat a little bit, I know, take that book, because obviously we do not have the resources of the FDI. I'm sure they won't mind. But if we can find that blueprint and that follow that blueprint and see what we can do. So like they have their actual statement of how you can just get professional involvement from others. So if we can do that, this is the time where we are in such an amazing time where one person with a desktop or a phone can literally reach the world. And it's just something we need to keep doing and keep on involving more and more people. And yes, in continuation, Dr. Subodh is saying one more important message is that biopsy is not invasive procedure, it's diagnostic procedure. Well, what you're saying, I get your point, but from my own recent medical trials, in fact, this was something that I was made aware of. A number of things, because where we think are really not invasive, something as simple as an x-ray, completely non-invasive, right? And we would think as doctors, how complex. I mean, we're just asking a patient for an x-ray. It can't be difficult. But when we are x-raying the part that is hurt, and the patient has to be moved, and uh, basically, now whatever the procedure, maybe I'm taking the example of an x-ray, it can actually be very painful depending on what we are examining. And normally we are examining obviously something that has got a pathology, some part that's got a pathology. So in fact, I was thinking that we should have some sessions to basically talk about empathy, because I think even frankly, even earlier I wouldn't have thought of it. But after my rather long hospital stay, I found that things we think and we take for granted that are not uh, hurtful or difficult for the patient can be very difficult. But on the other hand, I think what is very important, especially when dealing with non medical colleagues, I mean, basically with the patient, with the average patient who is not a doctor. So, like when I was being moved and pulled around for the x ray, I could understand that it was essential. But for a person who cannot necessarily know that, I think we need to really take it ahead and explain to them the importance of the thing. Because very often I find that things are not really explained to patients. It's taken for granted that they should know, or maybe that we know better. And that becomes difficult. I know there is also this thing that where we say, okay, if a patient is uneducated or a villager or is not, how am I going to explain these complex thoughts and these complex things? And I don't know your views. I mean, I'm very interested to hear this, especially since I was thinking of having a topic on it. Is what do you think? Do you where do you what would be your suggestion, any of you, in terms of the best way of convincing or maybe explaining to patients the need for a biopsy? How do we go about that? And it's very interesting to know. These are all things that we should really talk about, and thank you, Dr. Subodh, for bringing this up. This is very interesting. Okay, Dr. Carla has shared. For live lectures, I think interaction with the speaker is helpful, especially if one would like to ask specific questions. Very true. I mean, that is particularly the reason we have the live sessions, because they are technically more complex and much more time consuming to put together. But at the same time, sometimes I feel I should, or maybe we should weigh, the benefit, because obviously on let's say, last week we had a talk on it was a research oriented talk on oral submucous fibrosis and how stem cells now possibly can be used. um, Obviously there are very few people who would be interested in oral submucous fibrosis to begin with, and then for a research part in it, as another subset. So then the number of people who really take part in the live becomes lesser and lesser. So sometimes I really wonder, but the programs are for you all. I will follow what the audience wants, because that's finally I'm not doing the programs for me. I'm doing it for you. So yes, I agree, and I know that it you can't really, and now obviously those times for having hundreds of people attending a session was really only in the middle of the, I think, of the, what was it called, of the pandemic, and that is now no more the case. So yes, and it's good to know that you prefer live lectures. It makes it definitely worthwhile. Okay, Dr. Vedi. 2 years into clinical practice. Lesson learned: always better to investigate any suspicious lesion than brush it off as it is nothing. How so very true. I think we had this. Frankly, my memory is not doing too well. So I don't know whether it's something I have read somewhere or I have heard somewhere. So if I'm just sort of using someone else's thoughts and ideas, please forgive me. But I think there was a time which this is something I clearly remember, is that if the majority of the tests any one practice or any one doctor or any one group does are coming positive, then it means basically you're missing quite a few. So, yes, I think it is better to check and have a lot of the investigations turn up negative than to wait and basically do so few, or maybe they're so advanced that they definitely almost all are positive. So, what you're talking is absolutely correct. Investigate any suspicious lesion rather than wait, because the price can be too high for that time that passes. So, right. Okay, we crossed 6 o'clock. I don't want this to go on forever. So, without any more, and there are no more questions. And next week, what we are going to have is, I have not prepared the artwork, so I can't share it with you. But we are going to have Dr. Geronimo from Argentina talking to us now. He's an oral medicine specialist. He is going to talk something very interesting, which we have not covered before, and that is the importance of varices, yes, sublingual varices, in basically clinical diagnosis. What is their significance and what do they mean if they're there? I mean, how do you basically judge those? It's very interesting. Even I'm not sure what he's going to cover, but so it's a topic that I think is going to be very interesting. I have not really read on this, so it's going to be something I will also be listening with you all. I hope you will attend. Wait a couple of days, and the event will be set on the website on the events page. So all you got to do is go to Oral Pathology 360 slash forward slash events, and you will find whatever is coming up. Or then, of course, just come to the channel and you will see what's it's been set up. That will be, I believe, it will be live because luckily the timing is such that we can. It'll be a little early morning for him, but I think he will keep it live. Right. So with that, I think I've said bye now a couple of times. I should probably go ahead and say bye. Actually, thank you all of you for attending, for putting in comments. I appreciate that. It makes it so much nicer, and it makes me feel that yes, we have something going that is constant and interactive. So we shall meet next week. Until then, bye bye. Have a wonderful, wonderful time. Um, Thank you, Dr. Subodh. It's my pleasure really to be here with you all. It's truly a pleasure and a privilege to interact with all of you. And yes, we shall now transition to our goodbye.